Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we are just a few short months away from the NFL draft, and some of the brightest and best prospects in this class are doing everything they can to improve their stock between now and April. One of those prospects is Oklahoma running back Eric Gray, and Eric has now joined us on the Steelers Fix. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Let me start by asking you this. You have a lot of events coming up. You got, the Senior Bowl coming up. You've got the Combine, the Pro Day. You got a lot of things coming up. What is the thing you are looking most forward to over the next couple months, and what are you doing to prepare for it?
The thing I'm looking most forward to is really every day. You know what I'm saying? Getting to go to workouts with these different guys that are doing the same thing as me, trying to work as hard to improve our draft stock. The Senior Bowl, getting a chance to go out there one more time in pads, you know what I'm saying, to show how you are as a football player. And then being able to go to the Combine and show how the player evaluations, being able to just improve that draft stock is what is the most thing I'm looking forward to. Being able to show teams being able to show teams how great I am and that I'm the best for sure.
Man, that's awesome. I think that, when we just see you guys on TV and stuff, you kind of get just a glimpse of what you are. And so what we want to do today is just really get to know you. So I want to talk a little bit about your decision to transfer after 2020, going into 2021. You went to Oklahoma from Tennessee, and just how has that decision impacted you as a player? And then, what can you gain from those experiences during that process transferring that'll help prepare you for the transition to the NFL as well?
Gotcha. So that was a hard decision for me because all my friends went there. My best friends, I lived with my best friends. They were my roommates. Just being at Tennessee, I wasn't too far from home, quick 3 hours to Nashville, 2 hours to Knoxville. It was hard. It was a hard decision, but it was a decision I felt I needed to make at that time. You know what I'm saying? For me and my family, I felt we needed to make that decision at that time. And Oklahoma taught me a lot. Being able to play under DeMarco, who's been in that room, who's been in the league and has played at a high level, just the things he taught me about being a pro every single day, the what it takes to last long in the league, what it takes to have a long career in the league, just the different stuff, being able to go to, you think about Tennessee, I have the record for the most touchdowns in Tennessee. So Tennessee was kind of home base for me. Being able to go away to Oklahoma and still create that same success that I had at Tennessee was very inspiring for me because, you don't know where you're going to go in the draft. You don't know what team, I should say. You don't know what team you're going to go in the draft. So being able to go anywhere and still have that same success, that was really big for me.
Now, talking about Oklahoma's offense, the past 2 seasons, you had a big piece. You were a big piece of that offense. And, you had a chance to work with a lot of talented guys, some of which are already in the NFL, some that are going to be coming on with you in this next year or two. How would you describe your time at Oklahoma, and how, I guess the better question would be, who had the biggest influence on you? I know you mentioned DeMarco, but are there other people that you want to give a shout out to just who helped get you to the point where you're at now?
Most definitely. DeMarco, this year alone, DeMarco, Coach Schmitty in the weight room, just getting us better physically. You know what I'm saying? And it's more with Coach Schmitty, not just about lifting weights. He gave you a mindset of no matter what's going on through your day, no matter what's happened before this lift, we got to get this work in. You know what I'm saying? And that's just an important piece of just every day. You know what I'm saying? When it's time to work, it's time to work. No matter what's going on somewhere else, when it's time to work, when it's time to get the work in, the ability to be able to lock in and work for that hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe it's a game, 3.5 hours, being able to lock in and work is a really great attribute that they taught me at Oklahoma that I'll cherish forever.
Man, I'll bet you're excited to hit those NFL weight rooms, right? Get to work like that. No school messing with you.
Right. Get to kind of choose your own workout a little bit.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Man, you had nearly 1,600 all-purpose yards this year. You put up a career best 6.4 yards per carry. Fantastic year for you. Watching you on tape, we just see explosion and like an angry style of run. I think, when you look at the NFL, we as Steelers fans, we love that about Najee Harris, right? We love his angry style of running. But what the stat sheet doesn't really show is your abilities in pass protection, your abilities as a well-rounded back. Right. So my question to you is, do you think that do you feel that you can be a true third down or three down back at the next level and, you know, contribute in all three phases, runner, pass catcher, pass blocker? Do you feel you can do that at the next level?
Most definitely. I'm very good with learning learning the defense that we're playing, learning schemes. I'm very good. I pick things up quickly.
Sweet.
If I study it the night before, I can really have it and I can pick it up and I know everything about it. So me knowing coverages, knowing where the blitz is coming from, I think is a big thing with running backs, knowing where it's, because if you know where it's coming from, you can kind of expect it. You can get your feet in the ground. You can punch right. If you don't know where it's coming from, that's when you kind of get off balance. But when you know where it's coming from, you get your feet right in its technique. And to me, pass blocking is about want to. You got to be up there and go up there and do it to show you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Most of the times you got to read safeties, read the rock of the safeties, read the coverage to know where the blitz is coming from. So I definitely think that I will be a three down back in the league.
And when you mentioned about like playbook, picking up picking up schemes, how much did that transition from Tennessee to Oklahoma help you in that aspect?
Definitely helped me because I had to learn. So when I got to Tennessee, I had to learn an offense. Then when I got to Oklahoma, I had to learn an offense last year, and then I had to learn a whole new offense this year. So being able to learn those new offense in that short span of time is going to help me learn this new offense going into this next season.
One of the things Mike Tomlin always talks about is embracing the discomfort, and I think that's what you're talking about, right? It's like there's always going to be change. There's always going to be adjustments to be made, and sounds like that's what one of the strengths you feel of your game is that you can jump with those, you can move with those, and so fantastic, man. Awesome, Andrew. I think you got another question.
Yeah, I want to ask you a little bit about your background. You know, you have a rich running back heritage in your family. From what I understand, your father, of course, he played running back at Tennessee State back in the 80s. He was actually a running backs coach in high school. And then your uncle is Maurice Hall, who, of course, played at Ohio State in the early 2000s. What have your family members who have played taught you and helped you with in your endeavors to become a well-rounded back?
So my dad coached a lot of football, me growing up. He coached at a local high school when I was growing up. So I saw every kind of player. I saw the best of the best players who maybe didn't have the grades, or I saw the player who was okay, who had the grades, but he wasn't good enough to kind of go to a big school. So for me, I saw all those kind of players I'm looking at. I used to ask my dad, why are they not going to college? My dad used to be like, they don't have grades. So I took it upon myself as young that classroom is going to be my most important thing. The field is going to show up because I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. My dad has been my coach. I think he didn't coach me in middle school, but he coached me little league, all the way in high school, all of that. So him teaching me how important the classroom was definitely instrumental into my life, because it just allowed him, because he says it all the time, he could have went to a big school, but he didn't have the grades. He didn't have the push from his family to be able to focus in on schoolwork. So I would definitely say schoolwork. And then with my uncle playing at Ohio State, he gave me kind of the vision of playing at a big school, what it takes to make it to college and stay in college and be a well-rounded back in college.
That's fantastic. I mean, you obviously look up to those guys as inspiration for you. Do you have any specific running back that in the game today that you kind of model your game after?
I would say I watch all of the guys. I'm the type of guy that's watching everybody. I mean, I used to go back and watch Barry to Walter Payton to every single body, just trying to figure out what make them so great. You know what I'm saying? If I can steal something from Barry or steal something from Walter Payton or these different guys, to try to Earl Campbell, just to see what made these guys so great. I used to do that all the time. But today's game, you look at like a Alvin Kamara or a C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, or somebody like that who can run routes out of the back, who can catch out of the backfield as well as run the ball efficiently, is definitely who I would look at. Or Saquon is definitely who I would look at.
Fantastic, man. I think when you start looking at the game today, it's about the passing game. It's about being a well-rounded person, or a well-rounded player there. Right. But, the foundation for it is those guys you're talking about, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Franco Harris, who just passed away this year, tough-nosed runners who led football teams. And, I think we saw kind of a shift back towards that a little bit in the NFL this year. So you're coming in at a great time for your skill set, man. I think we got some rapid fire questions for you now. Just some fun stuff.
We do. And before we move on, though, for those of the younger people listening and stuff, some things to glean from this, we're talking to a guy who's about to head to the NFL, but is still prioritizing school, is prioritizing working out, taking good care of his body. There's a lot of different things to having it, just being balanced overall. A lot of times just in, when you deal with people day to day, even at the store, we see so much imbalance in the world. Being able to have that balance, you don't have to be one or the other. You can be both. You can be, both an athlete and, good in the classroom. And that's,
Exactly.
that's something great that you mentioned there, kudos on that.
And before we go any further, I just want to say that my mom is the biggest Pittsburgh Steelers fan ever.
Hey,
yes,
She is the biggest Steelers fan ever.
Here we go.
I just wanted to let that be known.
Man, you should have brought her on. We'd have had a good time.
Ever.
Awesome.
Hey,
good deal.
Hey, a couple years from now, once you're a star in the league and you want to come back on, bring your mom on, and we will have a blast. I can
Right
I got you.
With some rapid fire questions, we're just gonna go with a few back and forth. What would you want to be if you were not a football player?
I would want to go to med school. I want to be an anesthesiologist.
Wow,
man, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so then, what's the biggest game you've ever played?
The biggest game I've ever played in. That's a good question.
Sooners play a lot of big games.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Tennessee too.
Yeah.
The biggest game I've ever played in. The biggest game, I would say Oregon last year, because it was such a turning point for us.
Oh yeah.
Oregon was such a turning point from us coming off that Oklahoma State game, and it was a lot of turmoil with Lincoln leaving. It was so much turmoil, and us to go out and dominate Oregon as we did. I would say that was the biggest game, just for its atmosphere wise.
Yeah, great choice. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
What would you say is the best single trait or the strongest aspect of your game?
My ability to make people miss. Definitely my ability to make people miss. Because you see in the league, that's what you got to do. At running back, you got to be able to make people miss. You can't let one person tackle you. You got to be able to make people miss. So I would definitely say a single attribute.
That's a Barry Sanders attribute right there.
For sure.
That's fantastic.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So there've been some players, you were talking about some running backs like that have played in the past, not necessarily playing today, but so is there a running back that you wish that you could see on the field today that if when you get to the NFL you wish you could go up against?
Definitely Barry. 100%.
Yeah.
100% Barry.
I agree with you there, man.
100% Barry. 100%.
If his career was longer, wouldn't he be
He'd
best
have that
all
record.
time? Maybe
he would have that record.
I think so.
He would have that record, and I gotta go get it.
Yeah, man, do it.
You gotta go get it.
Yeah, go do
That's
it.
Right.
Well, we got two more. Actually, I'm going to create a third one. These next two are kind of just off topic. I've seen this debate been coming up lately, just in pop culture. Waffles or pancakes? What do you prefer?
Waffles. 100% waffles. Waffle House is undefeated.
It is, man. I got one just down the road. I don't go there enough.
Waffle House is undefeated. Undefeated.
That's it. Okay, and then what's your favorite movie?
So my favorite movie is about the Temptations. It's the biopic of the Temptations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was like a documentary?
Yeah. It's about their life.
Okay,
it's about their life, the Temptations. I probably know every word.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
okay, good deal, man. Good deal.
Then the last question I forgot to add, when we were figuring out, what questions are we going to ask this guy? One question I forgot to add on there, but we always like to ask our prospects. It comes draft night, and you get a call from whether it be Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, whoever it is, and says, "Hey, we're going to make you a Pittsburgh Steeler." What's going through your head?
Let me see. My phone's ringing. Mike Tomlin. I'm not gonna cry. I might cry. I might cry. I've always told my mom. My mom was like, "You're gonna cry." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna cry." But when it actually comes to draft night, I might cry just because of the emotion of just so much work you've put in, and just for it to finally come into fruition, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, like just that ability, just because you've been working so hard, and that's been your ultimate goal. People say you go into a little league circle and you ask them what do they want to be, they say NFL player. Right. And for all of that to come to fruition, that would just be, my mom would be racing like,
Yeah.
Hey,
I
when
was
do I
gonna
need to
say,
come?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say for Mama's team too. Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
exactly. She would be going crazy
Sure.
if it
That's
was the
fantastic.
Steelers. She would be going, everybody in my family is a Steeler fan, except for my
Okay.
dad. But
Okay.
they would be going crazy. So definitely if Mike Tyson call, I might give her the phone.
Right
I might
on,
give
man.
her
That'd
the
be
phone and be
fantastic.
like, "You're not gonna guess who calling me."
I gotta ask, what team is your dad a fan of then?
So he's been a Peyton fan. He's
Uh-huh.
a Peyton Manning fan. So he was a
Yeah.
Colt. He was a Bronco. He
Sure.
probably doesn't have a team now since Peyton's gone, but he was a Colt then a Bronco.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That
follow him
player
on.
loyalty. I love it.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy. Follow
No,
him
you good.
on Twitter at one Eric Gray. Eric, thanks
Mhm.
again so much for coming on. It was a blast. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Fantastic.
When you're blazing in the league, making all pro teams, don't forget us. But keep up the hard work and best wishes moving forward.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.